All right, so we are going to focus on the sports psychology of competing well in tennis. And I think it pays well to work on this because a lot of us work on technique, footwork, strength, endurance, and all of that, which are definitely important. But we do not compete as well as we want. A lot of times I'll hear players say, man, I hit well, and then all of a sudden, when the match was on the line, it just froze, or I didn't do as well as I thought. I lost a lot of tiebreakers in my league. All these things happen, and it's because you're not training your brain the right ways to handle these pressure situations. And it's very, very important to do that. So we're going to dive into that. So let's start right away. The first thing I want you to do is just pretend the lights are out. So maybe close your eyes and pause this video for 1 minute, and I want you to not think of anything for 1 minute. So try it right now. So like I said, I hope you pause this video to do that, but during that 1 minute, it might have seemed really long. I'm not sure what your background is for meditation purposes, but that can be a pretty tough task to do, to center your thoughts. And to not think of anything is actually impossible. So you cannot keep your thoughts from focusing on something. Now, meditation will have you focus on one thing, usually your breath. So if you breathe in and breathe out, you're just going to focus on breathing in when you breathe in and breathing out when you breathe out. Now, there is no way you cannot think of something though. So the whole idea is your brain focuses on something at all times. So when you say you're not focusing in a match, that's probably not the case. A good analogy would be this. Let's just think of it as it's really dark out and you have a headlamp on. And your light shines on things one at a time. And that is the only thing you can focus on. So whatever the spotlight is on is what you can focus on. So for example, if your light is flashed on this thought, what am I having for dinner tonight? That is what you're going to focus on. And then maybe you'll go back to the match, I don't know. But either way, all of these thoughts, you might laugh at a few of these, but these are probably common things you have said in your match, during your match. And that can keep you from performing well. So it's not like you can think of all of them at the same time. They go back and forth. So what you need to do is center your thoughts, right? Get rid of all these and focus on maybe one thing. Being positive is definitely an aspect, but just anything to really focus your thoughts to make sure that they're centered and that you can keep your mind is on the task at hand. All right. So I want to show you a video clip real quick with this. So this will help you kind of understand it.
I was telling him. No! Chapel! You suck! You stink on ice! You couldn't pitch a tent! Clear the mechanism. Oh, Mike.
All right, so this is basically showing you how professional athletes can, I mean, look at the crowds, all these people staring at you, and yet it doesn't bother them. And that's because they're able to have a strong focus on the task at hand, and they kind of channel that towards the right performances. So that's a good example of what I'm talking about. Now, try to write down, I would advise you to write down things you tell yourself at a match and try to be as honest as you can. This is a good reflection. Pause this video because I'm going to keep going on with this, but pause this video when you're ready or before you move on. But basically just write down every little thought that in general that you would tell yourself in a match. So go ahead and do that. All right, like I said, I hope you pause that. Anyways, moving on. So my question is, cross off the first thing before we talk is how now cross off the ones that are not helping you. So uh, what is becoming more of a negative comment that is not going to get you better while you play? And things like telling yourself technique is definitely something that you wouldn't want to do. You know, bringing the conscious mind to unconscious thought is definitely something that will not help. Telling yourself negative thoughts, putting yourself down, all those things are examples. So basically, what examples have you crossed off? What do you have left? I'm curious to think that I bet a lot of you have more crossed off than you have left, which is not a good sign, but also there's growth, right? There's room for improvement. So looking at that, we need to think about that a little bit on how we're going to improve with this. So going about self-doubt, we all have it in certain ways, and this is it focuses on our beliefs, right? So our beliefs are going to influence our actions. That's really, really important. If you could get anything out of that, just stop right there and just that would be a great quote in a way to remember. So your beliefs, what you believe in, is going to determine how you act. All right. So um, those actions will also impact others. So others' beliefs on us, right? And that's also going to cause others' actions. So the beliefs and actions of others are based on our beliefs and our actions, which reinforce our own beliefs. So that's the self fulfilling prophecy. And if you think you're going to double fault, for example, you're definitely going to double fault. And your opponent is going to start believing you are going to at the same time, and they're going to move in and show some stress on you. They're going to like put some pressure on you and know that you're struggling. But if you have beliefs that you can do this, they're going to see that and they're going to respond accordingly. But also, you can think of it as, you think of yourself as a loser. Well, you're going to lose more matches than you should, right? And then then others say you can't win, and then you treat it with little respect and just keeps going around and around. They just keep fulfilling each other, right? They keep building and building. But you can also, be the positive aspect of that, right? And you can kind of move forward and start with a belief that will automatically get you in the right direction through actions that will provide you with more self-confidence. So this self-fulfilling prophecy is very, very important in how you act on the court, but not just acting, but what you tell yourself. So let's talk about what the pros do. The pros use visualization, right? So it replays the lows and highs that the match will have. So I really recommend before you get on the tennis court to really imagine what the tennis match is going to look like. So you got to go through what it's going to feel like to maybe be down a break or missing a second serve, double faulting a game away, maybe missing an approach shot on a tiebreaker, a very important point. You miss a volley. You got to look at what that feels like so you're ready for it. It's not like a surprise. So when you miss, you're like, yep, got it. I'm ready. I knew that was coming, right? And also the highs, right? So what does it feel like to start coming back from that, to win the big tiebreaker after, being down a set? Or coming through on a big serve or return, hustling to that last point and, putting pressure on your opponent. All these things are really important as you go through your mental preparation for the match. So what the feelings are, right? So the feelings of the emotions, and then you imagine the execution, what it looks like to get that win. And I can give you plenty of examples of this happening, but I mean, there's stories of many of these professional athletes doing this where they'll hold up the trophy and they're not even really they're not smiling as much as they should because they've already imagined that they're going to win this tournament. They're ready for it. And not saying you shouldn't celebrate your wins, but you should see it coming, right? And you should believe in yourself at all times. So visualization is very important, but also self-confidence in your match. So the pros will never ever start a point without the right positive mindset. Regardless, they could be down 0-6, love 40. They are going to think positive throughout this, and it's very hard, obviously. When you miss shots, it's going to be really hard to keep positive, but that's what they're going to do. and they're going to show positive emotion after winning points too. They're going to pump themselves up. And I think a lot of us think, well, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't I want to keep my emotions to myself when I play. But, I think you need to think about like what the pros do and think about this, how they ever going to say they're going to lose a match before it starts. They never do. They always believe in themselves. And going back to the thought of disrespecting your opponent, well, think of this. I honestly think we can all be more self-confident. You are not ever disrespecting yourself if if you're going to show your care and want to compete at the highest level, then you are going to respect yourself and have that self-confidence to play harder. This has nothing to do with your opponent at all. And I think this is something that we miss a lot in our matches. We try to be too cool and collected and we don't show our emotions. And everyone's different, but inside you have to be positive, right? And I think I think we can all relate to times when we haven't done that and things haven't gone well, right? So another way to look at it is if I told you you're going to win 7 of your next 10 matches and it's beyond your control, there's no choice. You're going to win 7 out of 10. So what's the question? What do you control? And I think this is the most important slide or video part of the video that I could tell you is, when you step on the court, what do you control? And that's maximal effort. And what does that look like? Is your attitude. You have to have the right attitude. I don't care what happened before that. When you step on the court, if you want to win, you got to act like you want to win. Your attitude's got to be positive. How well you're focusing. We talked about what focus looks like and doing that. But also, not only being on the court and doing all these things, but also what have you done before that? Have you earned the right to maybe be a little disappointed if you lose? Meaning, are you working on your fitness and your preparation? Are you really doing all the little things before your match to make sure that you have the best opportunity to win? Now, if you trust the process, the outcome will just happen naturally. Even if you lose, if you are doing the process correctly, everything you're doing, like you're thinking positively, you're going through your routines, you're staying focused with everything, then you gotta say that you won the match. That's one thing you have to start thinking about is if you do all those things right, you won the match, regardless if you won or lost. So when I look at players, on my team and they win or lose, I don't really care about that. I care about what did they do to put themselves in a position to win. Did they give maximal effort? Okay, so consider that when you're doing this. So this is a great video, a clip of kind of talking about that, relating to golf, but this is definitely could go with any sport. So check it out.
I think it's time. Time for what? Time for you to see the field. The field? I see the field, but it's 445 yards long. It's got a little red flag at the end of it. It's 12 strokes ahead of it. Come on.
That ain't it. Because if you seen the field, you wouldn't be hacking at that ball like you was chopping weeds out from under your front porch.
Just give me the club.
Sorry, I bring it up. You're going to take that hack away.
All right, what's the field?
Fix your eyes on Bobby Jones.
He's a piece of work here right now. Man room. Knock it out there, Bobby.
He's practice swing. Almost like he's searching for something. Then he finds it. Watch how he settle himself right into the middle of it. Feel that focus. And he got a lot of shots he could choose from. Duffs and tops and skulls. There's only one shot that's in perfect harmony with the field. One shot that's his. Authentic shot. And that shot is going to choose him. there's a perfect shot out there trying to find each and every one of us. All we got to do is get ourselves out of its way. Let it choose us. Look at him. He in the field. Can't see that flag as some dragon you got to slay. Have to look with soft eyes. See the place where the tides and the seasons and the turning of the earth all come together. And everything that is becomes one. You got to seek that place with your soul, Junior. Seek it with your hands. Don't think about it. Feel it. Your hands is wiser than your head ever gonna be. I can't take you there, Junior. Just hopes I can help you find a way. That's you, that ball, that flag, and all you are. Seek it with your hands. Don't think about it. Feel it. Looking at it, Junior. Feel it. It's just
There's
you.
only one shot that's in perfect
ball.
harmony. You don't see it.
It's the home of your authentic swing. That flag, and all that you are.
All right, so basically, that video just kind of shows exactly the the focus that players have in golf. Tennis is the same thing, and what you need to start thinking about now is how you're going to improve that. So I recommend having a 5 minute pre-match get in the zone routine, whatever that looks like. But back to the slide I mentioned was, having some visualization of what that match will look like and how it will feel when you go through the ups and downs of that match. The Art of Learning is a great book for this too. It talks about getting into the zone. Also, how are you going to self-rate your match performance and keeping positivity with your whole outlook of how that match went, and your own self-talk between points. When you're winning, you're losing, and your 15-second relaxation method between points. All of these things, you cannot just say, I'm going to do it. All right, you need to start doing it in practice, and you need to start thinking about this as reps of serves and forehands. This is the same thing as finding reps and everything when you're doing these mental preparations and all those things that will help you become a better competitor. So try it out, and hopefully you'll see some improvement in your future matches.